Over the decades, Australian music has had a profound impact on the international music scene. From as far back as the 1960s with bands such as The Seekers, through to some of the most iconic acts to grace the world stage, the likes of In Excess, Kylie Minogue and AC/DC. These artists are now household names, but we know little of the music scene that fostered them before they made it big. It's a world of music you probably never knew existed, played in hidden venues and sung to near-empty rooms, and yet it makes up some of the most passionate, raw and innovative music being created in this country today. This is Mojo's Bar in Fremantle. Back in the late 90s, I was about 19 years old and I worked behind the bar here. And if we were lucky, on a Friday night, someone would cancel and the owner would ask us, Mojo, to jump up and play a set. And we were just absolutely stoked to get up in front of anybody and play. Now, a couple of decades later, Eskimo Joe have been blessed to have a career in music with recognition on both the national and international stage. But we were just one drop in a vast pool of undiscovered talent that could have risen to fame. This hidden music scene fascinates me, and I've made it my mission to support new artists to develop their potential and give back. It's in this space that you'll discover music you won't hear on commercial radio or TV. That is, until now. And trust me, you won't believe what you've been missing. Now, I'm on a journey across Australia to find and record some of these hidden artists on the fringe of Australian music, performing live to you in unique venues around the country. In this episode, we'll meet singer-songwriters through to full bands and electronic artists, every flavour you can think of. This is music at its most raw, most honest. This is music at its best. This is Close to Nowhere. Our journey starts in Perth's Swan Valley at Horton Winery. I'm here to meet Morgan Bane. Morgan is a singer-songwriter who simply defies genre. First picking up an instrument at the age of 10, Morgan has been performing live for the better part of a decade, developing a truly unique style in his performance and songwriting. And you'll see a great artist doesn't need an audience to pour out their hearts. Sometimes all they need is an empty room.
When I started playing, I suppose, guitar when I was about 7 or 8 or something like that, that was especially when I wrote my first song when I was 10 years old. But I started singing when I was like 4 years old and my mum apparently remembers me knowing the words to like all the songs that were on the radio when I was like 3, except I didn't know what any of the words meant. I was just saying basically what it sounded like or singing what it sounded like. It's always been music and I can't do anything else except, surf. But like, other than that, I've competed in surfing before and I hate it because it's just so stressful. I'd rather just play music and then surf on tour or something when I can. But other than that, I can't really do anything. It's like a huge creative outlet for me. That's like where everything goes out, is on paper and writing music and stuff like that. It's my life. You should be yourself more on stage. And it was one of my friends and and then I did it at one gig and I was like, oh no, like all these people think I'm an idiot, which I basically am. So it's as soon as I started kind of being myself and just cracking jokes about things that I found funny and other people find somehow warped or weird. People, they kind of warm to it. And then there's also certain crowds that like that, like especially if you're more relaxed, where there is somebody who's on stage and stiff and kind of tuning and not saying anything. It's a little bit, but it's also, I think, a part of being professional is being comfortable.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's kind of what I've tried to do.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Today again. Where did we go wrong? Where? We gotta find ourselves a way, 'cause the feeling is long gone, yeah. Everywhere I look, I see it, but I can tell the skies from the ground. Yes, in me, all you was trying us down. Always find it leaves me in the middle. Try to find it in between this mess that we made. Always find it leaves me in the middle. I can't find the reasons why. Well, I am in this bed that we made. You packed the bag and said I quit it, but you never left me alone. No, no. Well, we gotta find ourselves a way, 'cause the feelings are long gone. Oh, yeah. Well, everywhere I look, I see it, but I can tell the skies from the ground. Yes, in me, all you was trying us down. Always find it leaves me in the middle. Try to find it in between this mess that we made. Always find it leaves me in the middle. I can't find the reasons why. Well, I am in this bed that we made. But it sure feels like you don't believe in me, yeah. I don't buy the reasons why or what you believe. It sure feels like you don't believe in me, yeah. Don't you believe in me, yeah. Always find it lives in the middle. Try to find it in between this mess that we made. Always find it leaves me in the middle. I can't find the reasons why. Well, I am. Well, I am. Well, I am. Well, lying in this bed that we made.
My next stop is 78 Records, one of Perth's few record stores where you can still find albums from local talent. I'm meeting Linda Smith, an Irish-born artist who's performed for nearly 2 decades and now is the frontwoman for her band, The Borrowed Few.
The first song I ever wrote was in my uncle's house in Ireland, and I knew maybe 3 chords on the guitar. So I just picked up his guitar and got my notepad out and started writing, and basically that was probably the first song I ever wrote.
And do you know more than 3 chords now?
I know 4 now.
Excellent.
So
Well, that's fine.
very proud of
honestly.
myself.
That's excellent.
No,
You got every
I do.
AC/DC song right there.
But I do my band's head in because I always come in and I'm like, what about this song? And I'm like, I don't really know what this chord is, but it sounds really good. So I wouldn't say I am, a trained musician as such. I definitely work by ear.
And tell us about your releases. You've got an album out?
So I do. I have an EP that I did a long time ago.
What's that I spy over there?
Yes.
Ooh, hello.
Look at this. That's
just
the
perch it just
album
there
I
for you.
wrote. Here we go. I wrote this I think it was around 2009 actually, so it's a while ago. There's an EP being recorded now, but we're
Fantastic.
actually thinking that it could possibly potentially be an album. We're thinking we might as well push it. It's hard. It's been an ongoing process because at the time we started recording it, I was pregnant with my daughter, and I got to the stage where I was just too fat to sing. I couldn't get the breath out.
Oh,
so
dear.
I was like, we might have to put this on hold. And then I guess that's the thing that's hard about being a musician and a parent is the balance, trying to find the balance. So, we're still sort of tweaking and working on that, and the intention is to get it out at the end of the year.
So Linda, you've had an album out and you're about to release an EP. Can you tell me about the process of writing and recording this EP? Get.
Safe to say it's peachy. I'll admit sometimes I'm not easy. One thing I can always offer you is the promise I'll help find you. Tell me what you're most afraid of. I'll put it away in my safety box. Keep it there so it won't harm you. And at the promise, I'll protect you. When the world is cold, I will be your coat. If it rains too hard, I will shelter you from harm. Are you ready to let go with me? Give me your hand. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Don't be scared, I'll lead you where it's safe. We'll make it better. Just you wait. When the world is cold, I will be your coat. If you can't see through,
Every city needs a venue dedicated to putting on up-and-coming acts, and Mojo's down the road in North Fremantle is one of the most iconic in all of Western Australia. I'm here to meet Tom Mantle, a local promoter of emerging artists, to learn a little bit more about his experience up close and personal with Perth's underground music scene.
I think there's definitely a sense of community here in Perth. I think there's a lot of love for bands within the scene. I mean, I don't have much experience in other scenes, but from what people tell me that tour and bands that come over from different places, there's a lot of love here. People really support each other. Bands try to support each other's shows. There's a lot of that going on, I think. Man, my whole jam is there's these incredible original bands. They're amazing, but maybe they're going to play at a venue on a Tuesday night. How are we going to get people to go? But you just have to power through. And I guess being a promoter, like I am, half my life is just harassing bands. Make sure you tell your grandma, tell your auntie, tell your sister's dog walker, get people down there. Because if you do well, the bars sell some beers, you're going to get more shows and everyone's going to win. I grew up dancing, I grew up in theatre. I've always had art in my blood, in my veins. And then we played lots of shows in my band, and I just thought wow, I love putting on shows. I love seeing, bands up and coming. Maybe I can do this for other guys. Maybe there's an avenue for guys who aren't as hyperactive as me and don't want to do all the organising stuff. I can do that, and they can play. And that's how it all sort of came together, yeah. I think a definite high that I had was I used to run an open mic at Yaya's, which is now a greasy Irish bar, but it was the coolest, one of the original places where all the original bands would play. Yeah. And I had a line-up on, and I saw this homeless guy spitting bars out on the street. He had his little portable power amp with his batteries in there, and he was spitting bars. And I was like, dude, do you want to come and jump on a stage? And he's like, oh, dude, I've never played on a stage before. So we got him in the venue, we bought him some beers, and then we put the hat around, he spit some bars on the stage, and he ended up getting a feed and a load of beers out of it. So that was a real high moment for me, running open mics for sure. A lot of it's word of mouth. I'm a sort of known in the scene of Perth. Big Tomo, he puts on shows, so hit him up on Facebook. And I'll look for bands as well. I might see a bill, say at this open mic here tonight. I might see a lineup and some guys I haven't worked with before, and I'll just shoot them a message or call them up. So yeah, they look for me, I look for them. And it all comes together.
And it all comes together.
Yeah.
Love it when a plan comes together.
If you walked past a venue and heard the next solo artist, you could be forgiven for thinking you were hearing a full electronic band. Combining vocal loops and an operatic voice, Sam Parry creates a sound that is unlike anything you've heard. My producer and prolific Perth artist Peter Renzullo tracked him down for this recording.
I was spending a lot of time in science class in high school, just beatboxing all the time. And I actually got kicked out of the class a lot of times, and that's when I started putting it together. And I went, well, I can find a rhythm. I understand the effects, and I understand how to manipulate my voice in different ways. And so I just started buying this equipment and started recording and working it out. And yeah, so it must have been about 3.5 years ago. Yeah. As soon as I change one thing, everything else changes. So you go through and you find that you're editing your low harmonies, your high harmonies, your bass tones, your beatbox, and then when you find a good beatbox, you go back on itself and you find everything else has changed and you have to do it all over again. So it takes weeks and weeks, but once you find that spot and you find that that sound, you're laughing.
Eureka moment.
Eureka moment, that's the one, yeah. Yeah. It took me about sort of 5 months to sort of find the sounds once I started, sort of creating them from nothing. And as long as you set yourself the rule to start with one sound and let that sound turn into another, I've sort of started to find my way. But I mean, for the first sort of 3 months, I had nothing. I was just scratching my head and just desperately digging. And then one day, all the sounds that I've been working on over the past 5 weeks just started to come together. And I had this foundation that actually started to sound, because a lot of loop artists, they use it as this gimmick where, they use their voice and repeat it, but it's quite obvious that that's what they're doing. I've gone a completely different way. I like it to be drowned out in wet reverbs and to sound like a soundtrack or a song, rather than, he's doing that with his voice. I'd rather them to forget about that and then enjoy it and then remember that at the end, sort of thing. Highlight show for me would have been in Germany. We played, or it's a place, I've forgotten what it's called, but it was a 3-tier theatre, and Johnny Cash had actually performed on that very same stage. And the same wood that I was standing on. It used to be an old monastery as well, and they turned an old monastery into now the oldest theatre in Germany. And I was lucky enough to play there. We actually sold out 2 or 3 nights in a row there. Apart from that, I played some good shows. Like every show, there's no such thing as a bad show, my dad would tell me. So yeah, every show you experience and learn. And with my stuff, I'm not your normal band, so I can sort of set up anywhere in front of families or young kids, and they sort of accept it and they understand what I'm doing because it's at different sort of elements. So for me in Perth, the Bird for sure. I've had the best shows there. I did play one show at the Rosemount with Dub FX, and he's my idol, so that was pretty good.
Sweet like danger, I know bright light soon shall go. 'Cause I'm going there to see my Father. 'Cause I'm going there now, I'm not alone. 'Cause I'm only going over Jordan. 'Cause I'm only going down on the big ride.
We've only scratched the surface of what this hidden music scene has to offer, but there's a whole country full of artists just waiting to be discovered. Join us next time as we travel across Australia discovering artists on the fringe. We're going to leave you now with a final word from an amazing artist called Matt Cow. We'll see you next time.
Pistol in his pocket, yeah, well, I knew a man who called the wind Maria. Well, I knew a man with a moon river wallet, oh yeah, well, I knew a man with an old wheels rolling like a train down that rusty road. I knew a man who thought freedom was a burden. Well, I knew a man who smoked tumbleweed, oh yeah, well, I knew a man who just liked to feel them rolling wheels underneath his soul. Well, I knew a man with them old wheels rolling like a train down that rusty road. Rising, oh, it's breaking down the wall, yeah, well, yeah, that moon's rising, oh, she makes me want so much more when I'm always rolling, yeah, or like a train down that rusty